Hello everybody, this week has been a little crazy and a little rough because I've been reading Rhythm of War, which has been so good so far, but stuff's been happening and that's all I'm going to say because I will be doing something in the future with all that. But for today, I wanted to do something with Mistborn, but decided to workshop it a little bit more, so it was a little more ready for presentation, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, so I decided I would go through my books and find one that I have not read yet and read the first chapter and share it with you guys. But before I do that, we just got a new bookshelf and I don't have room on my shelf for everything. As you can see, you can't even see any of my side note. This is where I keep my Brandon Sanderson and like Stormont Archive, Mistborn trilogy. I kind of like where it's at, and that's why I'm not putting them out there or moving them onto the shelf. But I just have them on the top shelf, and I kind of like how I've had them, so I'll probably just leave them like that. But yeah, that's what I was going to show you guys earlier, but I didn't want to change the camera angle. Anyways, I don't have enough room on my bookshelf for all my books. And so my brother-in-law said that I could put some of my books out on the bookshelf out there. So I'm going to find the ones I want to read. I'm going to find the ones that I want to put out on the bookshelf out there. I will put them out there. And when I find the one that I'll figure out which one I want to read as I'm doing that. So let's get to it. So this is my Percy Jackson's Greek Heroes book. Totally going to put this out there because it looks nice, I guess. I guess it would make sense to also put these out there, but I also just want to leave these as they are because I guess you would say this is my favorites shelf. Also, this fits on my favorites. Yeah, so put these there. I have this like Robin Hood story that I will probably also put out on the shelf. These I have not read. I think I got the first one from a friend. She just didn't want it, I guess, and said I could have it. And then I got the second one for when I read the first one, but I never read the second one. I never read the first one, so I haven't read the second one. So I have these. Okay, so I think I decided. I got this book from a friend a few years ago for Christmas, and I've never read it. I believe it's a King Arthur story, so I think this will be interesting. I'm going to finish putting my shelves back up, and then I will tell you more about it. So I decided to add this to my stack going out, and that's what it ended up looking like. I guess I could put these out there, but I don't know. I kind of want to keep the one out there a little coordinated, I guess. These are just like a little random. So we have my final decision. I will be reading the first chapter from here and sharing more about it. Okay, so here's the new shelf. he said there's another one just right here as well. And I think he said I could have the entire space, but for now I'll probably only take up a little bit of room. So let's go. There, so that didn't take very long, but yep, I may decide to move more books. I may go buy more books to fill these sometime. I don't know, but you know, let's go read this. Okay, so as I mentioned, I've decided to read this book. It's called The Forever King by Molly Cochran and Warren Murphy. It is a story about King Arthur. From the back, it seems like somebody's going to be trying to take power away from him. Yeah. I got this from a friend for Christmas a few years back. I'm kind of embarrassed because when they gave it to me, I totally thought it was like one of the Lord of the Rings books because I was into that. I have not read Lord of the Rings, but I want to. So this is about King Arthur, so this will be interesting. I'm going to read the first chapter of this and I will tell you guys what I think. So I've read the first chapter. Actually, I've read the prologue and the first chapter. And as I was reading it, I realized I have read the first chapter at least. Maybe further, but I don't know. Before. I have read it before. But I don't remember when or why I didn't finish it. If I had to guess, it was right before I jumped into The Way of Kings. So, yeah. But you know, in the prologue, it was, talking about like the king was dead, so I'm assuming something killed King Arthur or whatever, and an old man, I'm assuming is Merlin, when after they sent the king's body off on the funeral barge, he found the king's sword, which had been abandoned, and he buried it in his cave. So that's what happened in the prologue. And in the chapter, it starts with an FBI agent trying to save a 10-year-old kid, which is the age that I think King Arthur is supposed to be. He saves him from trying to save a 10-year-old boy from a fire, but when he runs in, imaginary dragon pops out and he wrings its neck, and when that goes away, there's he finds the kid dead tied to the chair, and he wakes up screaming, and you find out this he was Hal Wolowitz. What's the last name? Wozniak. Wolowitz. That's from Big Bang Theory, which I've been watching a lot lately with my sister. Wozniak. He was a retired FBI agent, and this was, he'd, on his last case or whatever, he had been tracking down a serial killer who was targeting 10-year-old boys, and he was targeting 10-year-old boys, and he blew him when the FBI showed up. The serial killer blew himself up, and the house had been doused in gasoline, so that also lit on fire, and unfortunately the kid died. And Hal Wozniak had I'm sorry, just going out of my head. He felt a lot of guilt over not being able to save him. And he'd spent like a few months in the hospital recovering from running into the fire. And that basically is what the first chapter was. So it doesn't really provide a whole lot of information. I was not expecting this to be like a modern retelling type book of King Arthur, because I'm still assuming it's King Arthur because it's the Return of the King. So it's not very clear, but yeah, it's like a King Arthur thing, but it seems like it's going to be a modern type King Arthur, which I was not expecting, and I totally forgot that I read it before. So I remember not expecting that when I first read it, and maybe that's why I stopped, because I wasn't expecting it to be like that. And I honestly think I stopped because it was the Way of Kings. I was about to read Way of Kings, so I might have tried to read it in between when I paused during Way of Kings. I don't know. But yeah, I almost kind of want to keep reading, but I have to go back to more. But yeah, this will be interesting how it turns into King Arthur. I always like retellings of like King Arthur and like Robin Hood, but King Arthur. So this will be interesting, and I look forward to reading it in the future. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you found some enjoyment from my moving around my bookshelf a little bit and reading the first chapter of The Forever King and my thoughts a little bit on it. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and look for my next video in the future.